When most people hear the arrival, they picture a science fiction story about aliens landing on Earth. But the deeper story is about something far closer: the human mind finally meeting itself. The arrival isn't extraterrestrial, it's intraterrestrial. The arrival of our own higher intelligence into awareness. In the film, 12 vast ships appear in the sky, hovering silently. Each one looks like a lens or a pupil, staring down at the planet. If you watch symbolically, every ship is a giant eye, a mirror for human perception. They're not simply visiting us, they're showing us how we see. Inside those vessels live heptapods, 7-limbed beings who communicate not through spoken words, but through intricate circles of smoke that appear and vanish in the air. Each circle holds an entire sentence, sometimes an entire thought all at once. There's no beginning and no end. Every piece of meaning exists simultaneously. That is the first key to the film's code. Language is nonlinear. They don't read time as a straight line. They experience past, present, and future as a single field, like a song heard all at once instead of note by note. To learn their language is to tune one's brain to that same pattern. Dr. Lois Banks, the linguist who learns to understand them, doesn't just translate, she mutates. As she internalizes the symbols, her sense of time rewires. She begins to remember the future. She realizes that language doesn't just describe reality, it creates the way reality is perceived. Every alphabet is an operating system of consciousness. In this sense, the heptapods aren't aliens at all. They represent the right brain, nonlinear field of human intelligence that has been asleep in a left brain civilization. They are the half of us that knows in patterns rather than paragraphs. Their arrival is the reunion of hemispheres, the reconciliation of the analytical and the intuitive, the masculine and the feminine, the linear and the cyclical. When Lois receives what they call the gift, it isn't technology or weaponry. It's a new syntax of being. It's the ability to think the way reality actually unfolds, cyclically, holographically, simultaneously. It's an upgrade of perception. That's why, once she integrates their language, she doesn't escape time, she inhabits it differently. She can see the arc of her life, including joy and loss, as one coherent composition. Knowledge no longer protects her from pain, it gives pain meaning within the whole pattern. That is the real alien arrival. Human consciousness realizing that it was never linear to begin with. The visitors are a dramatization of our own latent capacity for omnidirectional knowing, the part of the mind that experiences reality as a sphere, not a line. When we begin to think in circles, something extraordinary happens. Intuition stops being mysterious, memory and imagination merge, learning becomes remembering, and extrasensory perception becomes simply expanded perception. The paranormal becomes the normal functioning of a mind no longer confined by sequence. Look again at the film's visual motifs. The circular language, the looping music, the camera that drifts instead of cuts. Every aesthetic choice teaches the audience how to feel nonlinear time. Even the title Arrival is a paradox. If time is simultaneous, no one ever arrives. We simply awaken to where we already are. So when I talk about the real arrival, I'm talking about this shift. Not ships in the sky, but ships of perception opening inside us. The alien mind is our own mind once it stops editing reality through cause and effect. What humanity calls contact is really self-contact, the remembering of our full cognitive field. In the end, Lois doesn't conquer anything. She listens. She learns the language of the cosmos, which is pattern, rhythm, and resonance. That is what every tradition calls enlightenment, perception of the whole rather than the part. If arrival shows us how consciousness opens, nope shows us what happens when the same opening is consumed by a spectacle. Jordan Peele's film takes place under a wide watching sky, the same dome the heptapods once descended through. But here the visitor isn't a teacher, it's a mirror. The UFO that haunts the desert is not a ship at all. It's a predatory eye feeding on attention and fear. Where Arrival depicts language as communion, Nope warns of the circus of illusion, how modern culture turns revelation into entertainment. Its title, Nope, is the reflex of the colonized mind, reflecting the unknown before it can understand it. The message hidden beneath the horror is the same one that the heptapods carried. We can't make contact with higher intelligence until we stop consuming what we should be learning from. The creature's circular mouth echoes the heptapod's circular language. One expands awareness and the other devours it. One teaches that understanding transforms time. The other shows that spectacle freezes it. Together they map the full spectrum of encounter. When awareness is integrated, the sky becomes communication. When it's fragmented, the sky becomes the predator. So Nope completes Arrival's lesson. It asks whether humanity will use perception as portal or as product, whether we'll learn to see or keep demanding to be seen. The next arrival won't be announced on the news. It will happen in the quiet of the nervous system, in the moment when thought and intuition fuse, when we can feel time as memory rather than measurement, when we can read events as symbols rather than threats, when we can speak from coherence instead of reaction. That will be the moment the aliens land, because that's when we realize they were never separate from us. So if any part of this message resonates, if you've ever felt that strange pull to read the world in symbols instead of sentences, to sense time as a loop instead of a line, then you're already part of what I call the real arrival. The Mothership Lexodus isn't a place in the sky. It's a field of remembrance, a network of minds relearning how to think in circles. Here we practice what the film only hints at: non-linear learning, sonic architecture, and the art of remembering the future without fear. Inside the community, we share decodes, frequency work, and dream logs, each of us translating the language of the cosmos in our own way. It's not about believing in aliens, it's about recognizing the alien within us, the part of consciousness that already knows, and is just waiting to be heard. If you're ready to learn that language, to turn noise into pattern, fear into coherence, and memory into creation, the channel is open. Join the Mothership. The link to the community is below. Bring your curiosity, your dreams, your patterns. Together we'll keep decoding, keep remembering, and keep arriving. And remember, stay tuned to the currents beneath the noise.